Chapter 41. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The corners of Mock's mouth have involuntarily risen, because this time he tried to confirm that even his own shadow can be absorbed and transformed into ability, then what else can't be absorbed? It must be said that this attempt gave him a new understanding of his ability to absorb fruit. In his mind, there is another idea. If this idea can succeed, he will have another ability that is very against the sky. However, it is time to go to the new world now. His goal is Caesar Kalong. The intelligence system there has not been established yet, therefore, he can only go to the intelligence system of the underground world by himself. This is also the reason why he asked Ada and others to go to Champion Island first, therefore, he can only temporarily separate from Ada and his group. This will save time, and why go to Caesar Kalong? Because there is a dragon fruit there. Look at the original work. Momonosuke ate the dragon fruit and mastered it. It is almost equivalent to Kaido's blue dragon fruit. Such a fruit must be obtained naturally. At that time, collect Giza's bias and let him eat it. Giza's bias's strength immediately increased greatly, reaching the level of the 7 warlords of the sea, and became another capable general in his pirate group. At that time, he and Weeble will be the 2 vice-emperors in his pirate group. Therefore, he is determined to get this artificial devil fruit. Mock turned into a beam of light and headed for the windless zone. Yes, he chose to cross the windless zone and directly reach the new world. Then, he found a small island and landed, and quickly found a tavern full of pirates. When the waiter saw Mock, he immediately greeted him with a smile. Guest, what do you need? Mock, do you have any information about Caesar Kalong? Caesar Kalong. The waiter was slightly stunned, and then he understood that people didn't come to drink, but to find someone. This is a big business. So he immediately said, please wait, I'll check it out. Mock nodded, and then found an empty seat and sat down. Hey. That guy seems to be the newly promoted Shichibukai Mock. The entrance of Mock immediately attracted the attention of some pirates in the tavern. And some of them have recognized Mock's identity. There was a bit of shock in his eyes, but the shock immediately turned into awe. Although the Shichibukai is not as good as the 4 emperors, it is also a symbol of strength and status. However, some people looked at Mock with a bit of provocation, some people even looked eager to try. In the new world, there will never be a shortage of powerful and arrogant people. Of course, there is also no shortage of stupid people who can't recognize themselves when they have a little strength. However, in the corner, there was a tall, tough, muscular guy. He paused in his eating, turned his head and glanced at Mock, with a cold light flashing in his eyes. Even the sunglasses he wore couldn't cover it up. Mock seemed to have a sense and turned his head to look at the man. But he only saw a side face with short black hair and lightning-shaped sideburns on both sides of his face. Mock's eyebrows could not help but raise, because for some reason, this guy gave him a familiar feeling. It seemed like he had seen him somewhere. Then, Mock shook his head. He didn't have any acquaintances in this world, so, he didn't take it to heart. Soon the waiter came back, but there was an extra box in his hand. Guest, this is the information about Caesar Kalong. This guy's identity is not ordinary, so it's a bit expensive. Mock just asked lightly, how much? Waiter, 2 million Baileys. Mock didn't talk nonsense at all, and directly took out a jewel of almost the same value and handed it over. The waiter took it with a smile on his face, and after a careful inspection, he handed the information about Caesar Kalong to Mock. After Mock opened the information and read it, he chuckled to the waiter, then give me an eternal pointer of Sicily. Yes, at this point in time, Punk Hazard has not yet become an island of ice and fire. Therefore, we can only find Caesar Kalong, not Punk Hazard, and the intelligence shows that Caesar Kalong is in Sicily at this time. The waiter took out another box from his arms and handed it to Mock. This is the eternal pointer you want, 100,000 Baileys. Mock couldn't help but smile at this, and nodded with satisfaction. Your service is really thoughtful. He gave him 100,000 Baileys and rewarded him with another 10,000 Baileys. The smile on the waiter's face immediately became sincere. What else do you need to eat, sir? Mock, 3 dishes of meat and vegetables. Waiter, then I'll serve you the most famous dishes in our restaurant. After eating, Mock walked out of the tavern and headed out of town. When he walked 7 or 8 miles out of town, Mach stopped and turned to look behind him. The corners of his mouth slightly raised, revealing a sneer. "You have followed me all the way, come out." Tsk tisk, that, ha ha ha. The two came out from a relatively hidden place on the right, laughing wildly. When Mach saw them, the corners of his mouth twitched, because these two people, one is very tall and thin, just like a stick, the other is very short and fat, just like a ball. However, the look they gave Mach was still a bit solemn. Obviously, the title of Shichibukai still has a certain deterrent effect. The tall and thin man: "We are a brother pirate group, Loki and Martin, and we offer a bounty of 230 million and 210 million berries." Mach: "So?" Loki and Martin looked at each other, and then laughed sinisterly. "So, we brothers want to borrow your head for a while." "Hee hee," Mach laughed. "Neither of them has more than 300 million. I really don't know who gave them the courage." Martin: "Brother, I feel like this guy is laughing at us." Loki: "Then let him know how powerful we brothers are." As soon as the words fell, the two of them changed at the same time. Loki grew a layer of short gray hair on his body, and he turned into a human beast form, and Martin grew fangs in his mouth. Good guy. Both are animal-type ability users. One is an animal-type skinny dog fruit ability user, and the other is an animal-type wild boar fruit ability user. Then, Loki rushed towards Mach, as fast as lightning. Martin is definitely a power type. He followed Loki and rushed towards Mach. The ground shook with every step he took, but don't underestimate him. Although his speed is not as fast as Loki's, it is not slow. He can be called a flexible fat man. Interesting. Mach couldn't help but get interested. The autumn water in his hand was unsheathed instantly, and a slash burst out, rushing towards Loki, who was rushing in front. Loki dodged flexibly and easily avoided the attack. Martin behind him was brave. He showed his true form directly, turned into a huge wild boar, and went straight. Chapter 42. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom, this guy took the blow. However, under the strong impact, he was pushed back more than 10 meters before he stabilized his body. Finally, he pushed his head up. Mach's slash was directly pushed into the air. Finally, it exploded in the air, scattering a cloud. At the same time, Loki had rushed to the left side of Mach. A big whip kick directly hit Mach's abdomen. Mach easily blocked it with Chiu Shui in his hand. However, Loki's on-the-spot reaction in the battle was also very fast. Surprisingly, with the force of the recoil, he made a 360-degree rotation and kicked Mach's back of the head fiercely. Swish. He was fast, but Mach was faster than him. Chiu Shui backhanded a knife and slashed directly at Loki's leg. Not good. Loki's pupils shrank, because at this time, he had no time to dodge. Armament hardening. No matter how crazy he was, he didn't dare to use his own body to withstand the sharp blade. After all, he was not the strongest creature. Kaido, the armament color was directly wrapped around his legs. Bang. But even so, when he was cut, he felt an incomparable force. The whole person lost his focus, spun a circle and slammed into the ground. He even smashed a human-shaped pit on the ground. It can be seen how terrifying the power of Mach's sword just now was. Loki's legs trembled a little, and then he slapped his hands on the ground, and the whole person stood up immediately. Looking at Mach's eyes again, they have changed. There is no arrogance, only fear. Then, he looked at his brother. Because in his opinion, only his brother could match this guy in terms of strength. Martin also looked at him at this time, and the two looked at each other and nodded to each other in tacit understanding. Finally, the two moved together. Loki bent his legs slightly, and then the whole person soared into the sky, and the sky came to the sky. He swung his legs at Mach, and slashed at Mach with one foot after another. Fuck, Mach was stunned and muttered, now that I don't know 2 moves and 6 styles, I can't become a villain. The previous slave hunting team was the same. Roar. At the same time, Martin, who turned into a giant wild boar, opened his mouth and a force gathered in it. Finally, a ball of energy shot towards Mach. Hee. Mach couldn't help but sneer, you really think I'm a soft persimmon? Then today, I'll let you experience how sharp the knife in my hand is. Ghostly energy emerged from Mach's body, and he began to get serious. Swish. He first swung a knife at the energy ball, and an extremely powerful slash burst out. It directly split the energy ball into two, and continued to move towards Martin. Then he kept waving the Chiu Shui in his hand, weaving a sword net in front of him. Blocked all the slashes of Lan Jiao. Roar, Martin roared again, and once again fearlessly rushed towards Mok's slash. He tried to block this attack like he just blocked Mok's attack. Unfortunately, he didn't understand that Mok, who was serious, was not something he could resist. He bumped into him, the two fangs on his mouth were cut off directly, and the whole person was cut off and flew out, falling more than 10 meters away, and the person also returned to his original appearance. And there was an extremely huge wound on his body. The novel was taken from the Rala's website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. From the top of the head to the abdomen, the whole person was almost cut in two. Martin, Loki couldn't help but screamed in pain. When he looked at Mok again, there was only hatred and fear in his eyes. Because Mok could kill Martin in 1 second, he had the ability to kill him in 1 second, but at this time, Mok frowned slightly. His eyes never looked at Loki. Instead, he stared at another corner. I thought you were in the same group with them. Now it seems that you want to reap the benefits of the fisherman. What? Loki was shocked. He never thought that when they were following Mok. Unexpectedly, there was someone hiding in the dark and following them. Hee. With a sneer, a tall figure walked out. It's really worthy of being a 7 warlords of the sea. It's really vigilant. Oh my God, Mok now saw who was coming. It was Virgo, Doflamingo's right-hand man. Suddenly, he had a flash of inspiration and thought of the silhouette in the tavern before. Now that I think about it, it should be this guy. No wonder he said he felt familiar. Of course. Although he had never seen this guy, he was very familiar with him after reading the original book. After all, this guy is considered a more outstanding character in One Piece. However, how could this guy will it be here? At this time, Virgo looked at Martin who had died, and then looked at Loki in the air. Then he added, "Thank you for helping me complete half of the task. It saved me a lot of trouble." Huh. Mok was confused at first, and then he immediately understood. This guy Virgo came for Loki and Martin, Vice Admiral Virgo. Loki is now even more uneasy. Virgo smiled faintly. The day you and Major General Martin defected, you should have thought of this day. Mok's eyes narrowed up. It turned out that Loki and Martin were traitors of the Navy. I said it. No matter what, the 6 styles are the secrets of the Navy. It is impossible to encounter a place where pirates can do it. Bang, Virgo moved, and the ground under his feet was crushed by him, and then the whole person rushed towards Loki in the air. Loki's face changed drastically, and then his expression became ferocious. Do you really think I'm afraid of you? Armament hardening. His legs were once again wrapped in armed color. Then, he kicked Virgo who rushed up. You are still so naive. You think that after eating a devil fruit, you can join forces to kill the 7 warlords and replace them? You can fight me? I'll tell you now, trash is trash. No matter what devil fruit you eat, you are still trash. As soon as the words fell, he also kicked out. The legs of the 2 people collided fiercely in the air. Crack. A very crisp bone fracture sound made Loki grit his teeth in pain. At the same time, his legs could no longer block Virgo's attack. Bang. Loki was kicked hard and flew away. Finger gun. After a successful attack, how could Virgo let go easily? He chased after him and gave Loki a fatal blow. Mok's pupils on the ground shrank. Virgo really deserves to be the first general under Doflamingo. His strength is really awesome. However, he does have such strength. In the original book, he is a single-handed abuser of smoker and law. If he hadn't been too careless, or too confident in his armament hockey, or too underestimated Luo's ability, Luo wouldn't have had any chance to counterattack if he had chosen to use his body to block the attack. Swoosh. A slash came directly towards Mok. Chapter 43. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mok casually slashed the storm leg away. Then, he looked at Virgo speechlessly. You are a Vice Admiral of the Navy, and I am one of the 7 warlords of the sea. If I remember correctly, we are allies, right? What do you mean by slashing me? The key is that he sneak attacks. Too bad, Virgo raised his eyebrows and chuckled. Sure enough, staying with naive guys will also make you naive. You actually thought of taking the opportunity to kill this kid and surprise him. Mach still looked puzzled. Is there a grudge between us that I don't know about? Then he thought of something, his face changed slightly, his eyes narrowed, and he reported a name, Caesar Clown. Yes. This guy is Doflamingo's man, and Caesar Clown is the most important card in Doflamingo's hand. Virgo naturally knew this. In the tavern, this guy must have heard that he had bought information about Caesar Clown from the underground forces. So, he targeted him. Virgo's face suddenly changed, and his eyes looking at Mach were full of murderous intent. As a pirate, he was able to work as a spy in the Navy for so many years and was promoted to vice admiral. His brain must be very bright. So when Mach reported the name Caesar Clown, he instantly understood that Mach knew something. At least, Mach had already connected him with Caesar Clown. Just based on this point, Mach must stay here even if he fights to the death today. Virgo is a very decisive person, and he has made a decision in his heart. He took action immediately. He stepped a few times in the air, the whole person immediately rushed towards Mach on the ground. The speed was extremely fast. In his hand, a jade-like ghost bamboo, wrapped with armed color, was whipped towards Mach's head. To be honest, he also wanted to kill Virgo. After all, this guy was Doflamingo's right-hand man. But his identity as a Navy made him hesitate. After all, with his status as a Shichibukai, it was not the time to completely fall out with the Navy. But Virgo started first. That was another matter. You can't just get beaten and not fight back, right? Virgo was so strong, didn't he hold back, and accidentally killed him. Even if it was Sengoku, it couldn't be blamed on him. TSK, Mach waved the autumn water in his hand to meet it, and at the same time, the armed color was wrapped around it. Ding! The weapons of the two people slammed together fiercely in the air, and the powerful power kept colliding between the two people. Formed waves of shock waves, sweeping around. Not only were the clothes on the two people blown away, the ground was directly broken wherever it passed. When the two separated, Virgo's eyes fell on the autumn water in Mach's hand. Looking at the armament haki wrapped around it, his pupils shrank slightly. Taijutsu and armament haki have always been his pride, the 6 styles of the Navy. Even that CP 900 years genius Lucci, how much advantage can he have in front of him? Speaking of armament haki alone, the entire Navy, except for Iron Fist Garp and Black Arm Zephyr. Even the Navy admirals are inferior to him. It can be said that his armament haki has reached the top level. The only shortcoming is that he has not yet mastered the technique of armament haki. Otherwise, his strength can completely become a reserve admiral. This is the source of his confidence, but at this time, the armament haki of the guy in front of him seems to be stronger than his. How old is this guy in front of him? But the more this is the case, the more he can't keep this guy in front of him. Shave. Virgo disappeared instantly, and when he appeared again, he had already come to the left front of Mach. The ghost bamboo in his hand was swung out again, directly hitting Mach's face. Chiu Shui horizontally blocked this move easily. Then the third generation Kitetsu was unsheathed, drawing a graceful and chilling arc in front of him. Iron block. Virgo's face changed slightly, and then he used the 6-style defensive moves. Dang. The third generation Kitetsu was blocked, and Virgo was not hurt at all. The only result was that he retreated a few steps under Mach's power. Virgo sneered, "Your armament haki is stronger than mine, but I still have the 6-style iron block as a defensive means. You still can't break my defense." Mach heard this, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Really? One sword-style Shura slash. He first put Chiu Shui into the scabbard and inserted it into his waist. Holding the third generation Kitetsu, the ghost energy surged wildly, forming a Shura holding the third generation Kitetsu behind him. Swish, Mach slashed with a knife, straight to Virgo. Not good. Virgo, his face changed drastically. He really didn't expect that Mach had such a strange power. However, this was not enough to make him retreat. He held the ghost bamboo in front of him and was ready for defense, deterrence. But at this moment, Mach's pupils also burst out with ghost energy and turned purple. Just a glance made Virgo feel great pressure. Boom. almost at the same time, a terrifying force burst out from Mok's body and swept around Overlord color. Under the double pressure, even Virgo, who was as strong as Virgo, was greatly affected, and a drop of cold sweat oozed from his forehead. Swish, something even more terrifying happened. The ghost bamboo wrapped in armed color in his hand was actually split into two by Mok's knife. That's right, it was cut off. Virgo's pupils were shaking. It can be seen how horrified he was. The most important thing is that Mok's knife continued to come towards him. The ghost bamboo in his hand was cut off, but he didn't have the confidence to use his body to take the blow. Shave. However, he came up step by step from the battle. He had a lot of combat experience. So, at the last moment, he successfully entered the high-speed movement state and disappeared in front of the third generation of Kitetsu. It can be said that Virgo narrowly avoided this attack. When he appeared again, he was more than 10 meters away. Virgo couldn't help but take a deep breath. But immediately, his eyes became solemn again, because he found that Mok also disappeared on the original ground. Not good. The next moment, his observation color captured Mok's position, and he looked up suddenly. Sure enough, he saw Mok. If he was not happy at all, his heart would be raised to his throat. One sword style ghost dragon destroys the world. A special slash that was 6 or 7 meters high and burning with blazing ghost flames. The most important thing is that this attack is as fast as lightning. Almost instantly, it arrived in front of Virgo, not giving him any chance to dodge. Virgo's pupils shrank to the point of a needle. At this time, he had no other choice. Armament, iron block. Chapter 44. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Boom, under this move, Virgo only lasted for a moment. Then he was swallowed by the ghost dragon. When everything returned to calm, a large pit with a diameter of 20 meters appeared on the ground, and Virgo was lying in the middle of it. But at this time, how could he be as calm and confident as before? Not as strong as before. There was only embarrassment and misery, because at this time, Virgo's clothes were completely torn. There was a huge wound on his chest, and there was a ghost flame burning on it. Blood kept pouring out of the corner of his mouth. Virgo couldn't help laughing, but it looked a little hideous at this time. It seems that it's not just the two brothers who are naive. Then his eyes fell on Mok. It seems that not only the young master, but even the headquarters of the Navy have greatly misjudged your strength. Your current strength is close to that of Hawkeye, the head of the 7 warlords of the sea. Mok put the third generation of Kitetsu in his hand against Virgo's throat. Virgo seemed to have accepted his fate and closed his eyes. Because under this blow, he has lost the power to resist. Mok frowned slightly. To be honest, many fans feel sorry for Virgo. Such a character is too early to leave the stage. There is no way, no matter his special armed color with purple and black that can cover the whole body, and the strength of that person who abused Smoker and Law is so dazzling. It's a pity to kill him like this. Mok made a decision in his heart, and saw that the tattoo of the holy sword on his chest began to emit a strong light. Finally, it flowed into Virgo's body through the third generation of Kitetsu. The strange power of the holy sword has the ability to control people's hearts. Virgo was hit hard in an instant, and the whole person began to struggle. At this time, Mok's hand was already on his head. Memory absorption. Virgo was fighting against the strange power of the holy sword, and could no longer resist the power of the fruit. His will was directly destroyed. Virgo screamed. At the same time, Mok's face was pale, and cold sweat oozed from his forehead. Because at this time, a lot of Virgo's memories were pouring into his brain. I was careless. It seems that this trick can't be used indiscriminately. No, it's better not to use it in the future. However, this time, he didn't give up. He gritted his teeth and persisted, and in the end, his head was about to explode. This is all the memories of a person's life, even if it is hidden in the deepest part. Even the person himself may not remember the memory. Too spoiled, when Virgo's last bit of memory was sucked away by him. Mok's body shook, and his eyes were already full of bloodshot. Memory return. Mok returned the memory again, but the returned memory had been added by Mok. Many of them were made up by him, and Virgo's memory of Doflamingo and his gang was completely left in his mind. after everything was done, Mok panted a little hard. He couldn't help but sit aside and close his eyes to rest. Now, he really understood what it meant to be overwhelmed, really overwhelmed. It was swollen so badly, he was already like this, and Virgo was hurt even more. At this time, he had lost consciousness. Fortunately, Mok had used the power of the holy sword to heal his wounds, otherwise, I'm afraid he would have died. After a long time, Virgo slowly woke up. The moment he opened his eyes, a trace of confusion flashed in Virgo's eyes. Then when he saw Mok sitting on the side, his face straightened immediately. He stood up respectfully. "Young master." Mok had also been relieved at this time, but he was still a little dizzy. "There will definitely not be a next time. This feeling is too uncomfortable." Then he looked at Virgo, and finally a smile appeared on his face. This time the hardship was not in vain. The strongest cadre and the best spy under Doflamingo are now his. He nodded with satisfaction. "Take these two brothers back to the Navy. After a while, I will send you a devil fruit. By then, I hope your position in the Navy will be further improved." Virgo frowned slightly when he heard this, and then nodded. "Yes, young master." "Mok, I know you don't want to eat devil fruits, but the one I gave you is very suitable for physical masters. And you have to understand that devil fruits are just a means to become stronger. It will not affect your own practice." Virgo nodded again. Virgo left and went back to G1. But Mok was very happy. In this way, he can be regarded as a hidden chess piece, and he is an absolutely loyal subordinate. He really wants to have a few more loyal subordinates like this, but when he thinks of the feeling just now, he decisively gives up. He doesn't want his whole head to explode. Even if it doesn't explode, he is afraid of becoming a big head like Vegapunk. Half a month later, Mok has arrived at Champion Island. This is a holy place for physical artists, so it is an ownerless land. No matter which force, it will not easily make trouble here, because, moving here is equivalent to moving the entire group of physical artists. As soon as he got on the island, a person immediately came up to him. "Excuse me, are you here to participate in the fighting competition or to watch the fighting competition?" Mok was slightly stunned when he heard this. While he was absorbing Virgo's memory, he also got the practice method in Virgo's memory, including the practice of 6 styles and armed color. The reason why he came here half a month later is to turn this practice method into his own strength, so, he immediately became interested. "Can I still sign up now?" "As far as I know, the fighting competition here has already started. There are 2 ways to fight here. One is to fight step by step. The other is the challenge mode. The first one is impossible now. However, if you are confident in your own strength, you can choose the second one." Puff. Before Mok spoke, someone on the side laughed out loud. "Ollie. This guy has 2 swords on his waist. You can see that he is a swordsman. You actually propose to participate in the fighting competition? Do you want to make others laugh to death?" In front of Mok, the young man named Ollie blushed. He is a newcomer in the port reception. Today is his first time to solicit customers. He was so nervous that he made such a big joke. "It's over. I'm afraid he will become the laughing stock of this industry for a whole year." Mok was even more interested. "Come on, tell me in detail what this second challenge is." Ollie was stunned, then said to himself, "Just treat it as practice. Besides, even if the person in front of him is not a physical master, he is not someone he can provoke." So, he immediately explained, "There are always 3 or 4 champions living on the Champion Island all year round. You can choose to challenge them, and if you beat them, you can challenge the champion of this session." Chapter 45. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Ollie then asked weakly, "Do you really want to challenge the champions of the previous sessions? Let me make it clear first, we only accept challenges from strong physical fighters and martial artists." Mok laughed when he heard this. "Who doesn't know a few physical skills? Where can I sign up?" "Huh?" Ollie and the people around him all looked over. They have been here for so many years, but this is the first time they have seen a swordsman participating in a fighting competition. Interesting. Everyone has a gossipy heart, and they look at Mok one by one, with a gleam in their eyes. Ollie also reacted here. This guy in front of him is serious, he immediately said. Please follow me, I will take you there now. Under Ali's leadership, Moke soon came to the center of Champion Island. There stood a large clock. Ali, as long as you ring this championship bell, the champions on the island will hear it. Once they hear it, they will appear. However, I remind you again that you can't regret it once you ring this bell. More importantly, you must use physical skills to challenge. Otherwise, you will break the rules of Champion Island, and you will be attacked by all the fighters on Champion Island. Interesting, Mach walked over without hesitation. Hey, look at what that swordsman is doing. Soon someone noticed Mach's actions and was shocked. Is he going to ring the championship bell? Here to make trouble. That's right, a swordsman challenges the fighting champion. It's just looking for death, but TSK, I haven't seen anyone ring the championship bell for a long time. Who cares if he is a swordsman or a fighter? Anyway, it's exciting to watch. That's true. And the swordsman who dares to ring the championship bell is at least a swordsman. Mach didn't care what those people said, and walked over directly. Then, he kicked him, dong. The dull bell sounded throughout the fighting city. Everyone's attention was immediately attracted, and no matter what they were doing, they all stopped. They looked towards the center of the city, because that was the location of the champion bell. Is there anyone challenging the champion? Everyone's eyes lit up, and then many of them quickly went to the center of the city. Because anyone who rang the champion bell would have a fight in the fighting field next to the champion bell. Boom. On Mach's side, a man fell from the sky. The powerful impact directly blasted a big hole in the ground. The man was a burly giant of nearly 4 meters, standing in front of Mach. He was only wearing a fighting vest, and his muscles were all bursting, but Mach could see that these were not the dead muscles of fitness. That was the source of terrifying power, the strongest champion Baboon King. Everyone was stunned at first, and then they exclaimed one by one. Because they have recognized that the person who came out in front of them is the strongest champion in the past 100 years, it's over, this guy is finished. It's actually the Baboon King. Oh my god. This swordsman is too unlucky. He rarely shows up in recent years. The strongest champion. Baboon King. Mach looked at the man in front of him, and his eyes lit up. Because even the target this time, Giza's Bayas, did not have such a title, he wanted to see how strong this guy in front of him was. The Baboon King looked down at Mach with his height advantage. His eyes fell on the double swords on Mach's waist, and his brows frowned, but he still confirmed, did you ring the championship bell? Mach nodded. The Baboon King's face changed instantly, and he said angrily, boy, you came to Champion Island to cause trouble. It's over, the Baboon King is going to be angry. TSK. Today's show is going to be good. Hurry up and buy tickets. They will be sold out soon, and you won't be able to watch the excitement then. The smart man quickly ran towards the ticket office of the fighting arena. Mach chuckled lightly, then turned his hand back and pointed his index finger at the Baboon King. Flying finger gun. A wave of guns burst out at a very fast speed, and in a blink of an eye it was in front of the Baboon King. The Baboon King narrowed his eyes and was a little surprised. Navy 6 styles. While speaking, he seemed not to see this wave of guns. He stood there straight until he was about to be hit. His body shook slightly, and a shock wave emerged from his body, directly shattering Mach's gun. Wave 8 punch. A light flashed in Mach's eyes, and he was also a little surprised. Tisk. The Baboon King laughed strangely. You have some experience. I won this trick by betting with Qin Jiao 10 years ago. Then he changed the subject and his expression became meaningful. No, you are quite interesting. It is rare for a double-bladed swordsman to know 6 styles. However, since you know physical skills, it is not against the rules. Bet? Mach was slightly stunned when he heard this, and directly grasped the key point. The Baboon King laughed. Ha, I am not only a fighting champion, but also a gambling king. I always win every bet and have never lost a game. How about it, are you interested in betting with me? Mach also became interested. What bet? The Baboon King, I have an appointment with an old friend to bet, and the time is coming soon. If you lose, you will guard the champion island for me for a year, how about it? I will lose. Ha ha ha, cough cough, the Baboon King seemed to have heard a big joke, and he couldn't help laughing. But he immediately realized something, stopped laughing, and covered it up with a cough. Then, if I lose, you can do whatever you want. Mok heard this and couldn't help laughing. Then if you lose, join my pirate group. How about it? The Baboon King was stunned, and then his eyes changed when he looked at Mok. You kid came to Champion Island, you didn't come just to stand by me. Mok, I came here for another person, you are a pleasant surprise. A pleasant surprise? The Baboon King laughed and said meaningfully, you are also my pleasant surprise. If I win, you will have a Shichibukai to help me defend this place. Ha ha ha, ha. Mok was dumbfounded. It turned out that this guy recognized him early. It was for him to let him guard Champion Island when he went out to make a bet with his old friend, but, are you so sure that you can beat me? The Baboon King, under normal circumstances, I may not be able to beat you. But the rule here is that you can only use fighting and physical skills, so your kendo cannot be used, and your natural fruit ability cannot be used. Your strength is directly reduced by more than half. If so, I still can't beat you. It's not unacceptable to mess with you. Ha ha ha, Mok also laughed out loud, then let's try. Chapter 46. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Baboon King, follow me. As soon as the words fell, the Baboon King exerted force with his legs, and the whole person jumped up, soaring into the sky, and fell into the fighting field on the side. Mok followed closely and came to the fighting field. Their arrival directly caused those who were still competing in the field to automatically withdraw. This is the rule of the fighting field. When the champion comes, no matter whether they are competing or not, they must withdraw and make way for the field, and one of the people who withdrew was actually Giza's bias. Mok also noticed this and glanced at him. The corners of his mouth could not help but rise slightly. It seems that this champion island is his lucky island. Not only did he find Giza's bias, but he might also meet a stronger guy. Then his attention returned to the Baboon King. Baboon King, it's time to start. After saying that, he hooked his finger at Mok. The rules of the challenge, the challenger strikes first. Shave, Mok disappeared instantly, and when he appeared again, he was already in front of the Baboon King. Then he exerted his strength and jumped into the air. He then kicked the Baboon King. The Baboon King stood there without moving, raised his arm and easily blocked it. Then the Baboon King chuckled at Mok. If you only have this much skill and physical skills, I'm afraid you will have to stay and guard the island for me. As soon as the words fell, the power exploded, knocking Mok out. Then, he aimed at Mok and punched him in the air. 8 punches. Boom! A powerful shock wave burst out from his fist and went towards the knocked-out Mok. TSK, you underestimate me too much. Mok crossed his hands in front of his chest and easily blocked this move as well. Then, in the air, he swung his right leg, and a powerful storm kick was formed instantly, heading towards the Baboon King. The Baboon King's face changed slightly, because the power of this storm kick was quite impressive. It had reached a level that he had to face up to. He looked at Mok and said in a deep voice, I underestimated you. Then he threw a punch again, but this punch was already wrapped with armament hockey. Bang! Mok's storm kick was actually directly blasted away, which shows the power of this punch. At the same time, Mok took several steps in the air, and the whole person rushed towards the Baboon King on the ground at an extremely terrifying speed. Finger gun dragon claw. Mok's hand made a dragon claw shape. At this time, his hand was also wrapped with armament hockey. Do you still want to fight me head-on? The Baboon King smiled naturally, and then punched out again, meeting Mok's dragon claw. Boom! A claw and a fist slammed fiercely together, and the powerful force collided without touching each other, forming a strong energy that swept around. The surroundings were like a typhoon of level 7 or 8. The people in the audience had to lower their bodies one by one to ensure that they could sit safely under the strong wind. One claw, and another claw, one punch, and another punch. The two kept hitting each other, but neither of them could do anything to the other. In the end, the two retreated and confronted each other 7 or 8 meters apart. At this time, the Baboon King looked at Mok with a completely different look. I have to say that your physical skills are quite good, and you already have the strength of a general fighting champion. But, at this point, he twisted his neck and made a sound of bone joints. Just now was just a warm-up, now is the beginning. As soon as the words fell, he changed, grew long hair, and finally turned into a baboon in a human beast state. Then he said with a bit of complacency, I am an animal baboon fruit user, don't be too surprised next. Mok, what's so surprising about an animal baboon fruit user? And can't you use devil fruit abilities? This is pure cheating. The Baboon King seemed to see through Mok's mind. According to the rules of the fighting arena, fruits like animal type that can enhance the body can be used. Unfortunately, you don't have it. So, you are destined to lose. Before he finished speaking, his eyes widened. Because, at this time, Mok has become a state similar to the Zhan fruit, one side of his arms and legs has become a blade, and his body has become an extremely hard metal blade. Mok laughed. Although mine is a superhuman fruit, it also enhances the body's ability, so it should be useful. The Baboon King was dumbfounded, and then laughed again. Even if you have it, so what? Soon, you will understand the power of the animal Baboon King fruit. You know, I call him the strongest animal type. The strongest animal type. Baboon King. Mok was very confused. No matter what, this fruit is just an ordinary animal devil fruit. Not to mention the mythical beast species, even the ancient species is not as good as it. Even in the ordinary animal system, it is not good. Tigers, lions, rhinos, elephants. Which one is not stronger than it? But despite his doubts, Mok did not stop attacking. Mok disappeared from the spot again, and when he appeared again, he was already in front of the Baboon King. Finger gun dragon claw. The blade-shaped dragon claw is definitely more powerful, but, the next second, the Baboon King also disappeared from the spot. Mok missed directly, which also made Mok very surprised. Because if he was not mistaken, the Baboon King also used shaving. The next second, Mok felt a strong wind coming from behind him. Mok's face changed drastically, and he pointed with his backhand. But he was greeted by a big, dragon claw. One finger and one claw, slammed together again, under the powerful force, he was repelled 7 or 8 steps. At this time, Mok's pupils shrank to the size of a needle. He had an idea in his mind, but he had to confirm it, so he immediately threw a flying kick in the air, and a huge storm kick slashed out, directly hitting the Baboon King not far away. The Baboon King disappeared again, and when he appeared again, he was already on the left side of Mok. He also threw a leg, and a slightly faster storm kick slashed towards Mok. One Piece version of Kakashi. Mok was shocked, because he had confirmed it at this time. This guy can copy his moves, which is really awesome. However, this animal baboon fruit, no, as he said, it is the animal Baboon King. How is it possible that it has such an ability? You can't say that the baboons in One Piece are different from ordinary animals. Wait, it seems that they are really different. He couldn't help but think of the baboons in the eagle family. Yes, those baboons can copy the opponent's moves, just like Zoro's moves. It was learned by a baboon in an instant, so, the person who ate the animal baboon fruit also has such an ability? Then it can be barely called the strongest animal. Chapter 47. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Baboon King smiled proudly. I can learn your moves just by looking at them. In one word, I can use them all, and I can also use the ones you can't use. How can you beat me? As soon as he finished speaking, the Baboon King bent his legs slightly, and then rushed towards Mok. Fishman Karate 7,000 tiles roundhouse kick. When he rushed in front of Mok, he turned 360 degrees in the air and kicked Mok. Mok entered to adjust his speed, dodged the attack, and then appeared on the left side of the Baboon King. Then ghost energy emerged from his body. Rain kick ghost flame slash. A special slash that combined ghost flame and storm kick spurted out. In the blink of an eye, he arrived in front of the Baboon King, armed hardening. Fishman Karate, Tang Chao Wa Jingquan. The Baboon King used the Jingquan form to generate a 360 degrees shock wave in all directions. It formed a move with impact in all directions of defense. Boom, the shock wave and the slash collided fiercely. But the shock wave was easily broken like a piece of paper. The Baboon King was shocked when he saw this. But he reacted quickly and dodged the attack with a shave. Then he also slashed with a storm kick towards Mach. He fought back without any hesitation. Mach struck again, storm kick, ghost flame slash. The two storm kicks collided directly with each other. However, Mach's storm kick, ghost flame slash was still so strong. The storm kick of the Baboon King was just like the shock wave before, it was cut into two. And the storm kick, ghost flame slash continued to move towards the Baboon King. How is it possible? The Baboon King exclaimed, Mach's mouth slightly raised. You can see through and even learn other people's moves at a glance. But you forget that your own strength is the foundation. If your own strength is not good, even if you learn other people's moves, you still can't change your own lack of strength. It has to be said that this fruit ability is really awesome, because it can save the ability user a lot of time and energy to practice moves. Moreover, it can combine many moves in one body to face various situations. In this case, you can strongly crush people with similar strength. Even defeat some people who are stronger than you against the wind. If it is in the face of absolute strength, everything is a cloud. Shave. This time, Mach no longer held back, but went all out. After entering high-speed movement, Mach rushed to the Baboon King, finger gun dragon claw. This time, his armed color burst out directly, all wrapped around his hands. At the same time, the ghost energy was also wrapped around his hands. The two terrifying powers raised Mach's attack to the highest level. The Baboon King's face changed again and again. It must be said that what Mach said was very reasonable. However, he was still a little unconvinced. Who is he? He is the strongest fighting champion in Champion Island in 100 years. How could he lose to someone who can't use his best power? If so, he really lost. What is he? When he thought of this, his eyes narrowed. At the same time, he also used his strongest trump card, armament color release, armed color wrapped around his fist, and then punched out, meeting Mach's dragon claw. For the last and strongest blow, he chose his best fist. Boom, the attacks of the two people slammed together fiercely. The Baboon King's face froze, because he felt that Mach's hand came from an unmatched power. Mach's face also froze, because he was also severely injured. Dang, thought he was directly knocked out, but he was not hurt at all. He turned over in the air and fell back to the ground steadily. He looked at the Baboon King with some surprise. If he was not mistaken, that was the release of armament hockey just now. He was surprised, but the Baboon King was shocked. No, he was doubting his life. You know, he used all his strength in that punch just now. But he never expected that he couldn't even break the opponent's defense. Good guy. He broke his own defense. What a fight. He realized it later and found that he had dug a hole for himself. I thought I had taken a big advantage, but now I have lost myself. Mach also felt that the Baboon King had lost his will to fight, and couldn't help but chuckled. Are you admitting defeat? The Baboon King had a dark face. You are a freak. This fight was a bit unconvincing. Who knew that this guy was so strong? Surprisingly, he took his strongest hand and was unscathed. It was really a ghost. In the whole world, only Kaido can do it. Mach, do you keep your word? The Baboon King rolled his eyes. I always keep my word, but before that, I have to complete the bet with my old friend. After that, I will come to you. Mach nodded without hesitation. Of course. After that, his eyes fell on Jaiza's badges on the sidelines. The Baboon King immediately realized something and looked in the direction of Mach. He raised his eyebrows. Jaiza's badges, it seems that you are here for him. It's a good vision. If nothing unexpected happens, he should be the fighting champion of this session. And from the strength he showed, it is also very outstanding among the previous fighting champions. No wonder you made a special trip. Yeah ha 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 ha. Jiza's badges also found that the two people looked at him. He couldn't help but let out a signature laugh. To be honest, he saw the fight between the two just now. Seeing this made his blood boil. But he also understood that the two guys in front of him were stronger than him. Especially Mok, a swordsman, who used physical skills to suppress the Baboon King, who was known as the strongest champion. It was unbelievable. Mok, if you want to improve your strength quickly, you can't be limited to this small champion island. You have to go out and see the strong people in the world. As long as you are willing, join my pirate group, and I will take you to fight against the strong people in the world. How about it? Jiza's Bages was slightly stunned when he heard it. He really didn't expect that Mok would invite him. Then he laughed his signature laugh again. Yeah, ha 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 ha. He walked towards Mok with laughter. Although he didn't answer, his actions said it all. Mok was a little surprised. He really didn't expect that Jiza's Bages would agree so readily. Giza's Bias walked up to Mok, Captain, then he looked at the Baboon King excitedly. In his opinion, is there anything more exciting than being able to challenge this champion who is known as the strongest champion? What's more, there is a captain with equally terrifying physical skills. For a fighter, the temptation is too great. After all, in this champion island, being a champion is exciting. However, at this moment, a unique voice sounded on one side. Chapter 48. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ha. Another person with a signature laugh, and if he is a fan of pirates, anyone who hears this signature laugh will immediately know who is coming. The same goes for Mok. He turned his head and saw a very arrogant guy walking towards him. He had blonde hair, sunglasses, a pink feather coat, cropped pants, and pointed shoes. He walked with a step that didn't recognize any relatives. Who else but Doflamingo, the #1 gangster of pirates? Fuck. How could this guy be here? Mok immediately looked at Giza's Bias. By the way, in order to find this guy, he bought the eternal pointer of Champion Island from the underground forces, perhaps from the forces of this guy. In turn, the information he wanted to go to Champion Island was naturally placed in front of Doflamingo. When he thought of this, Mok's pupils shrank slightly. Sure enough, you have to have your own intelligence system. Otherwise, it would be very inconvenient. If he is not careful, his information will be completely exposed to others. But what does it mean if this guy is coming for him? Giza's Bias and Baboon King Burns looked at each other. He thought to himself, what day is today? 2 Shichibukai came to Champion Island at once. Soon Doflamingo came to the 3 of them and laughed again. At the same time, he stretched out his long tongue, licked his lips, and said with a bit of madness, you are really good. You have recruited 2 good crew members at once. If he had seen the battle between Mok and the Baboon King just now, he would have seen it all. The strength of the 2 is very good. Especially Mok. He didn't even use the natural fruit ability in Kendo. He defeated the Baboon King, who is known as the strongest champion. Originally, he came here to deal with Mok. After all, Mok recruited the cook Ada, and there was already an opposition between them. After all, that Ada would never give up revenge on him and the Don Quixote family. Then the 2 sides would naturally confront each other. In this case, it would be better to take this opportunity to kill Mok and eliminate the trouble forever. After all, as long as Mok dies, Ada alone will not be able to achieve anything, but the strength that Mok showed just now made him feel very difficult. He had the confidence to defeat Mok, but he was no longer sure that he could kill Mok successfully. However, he still had to show up to shock him, otherwise he would really think that Doflamingo was easy to bully. A terrifying force erupted from Doflamingo's body and swept around. Wherever he passed, people seemed to have their souls taken away. One by one, they fell down without any signs, and only a very few people barely stayed awake. But they were all pale, as if they had been hurt. The pupils of Baboon King Burns and Giza's Bias shrank slightly. Conqueror's Haki, at the same time, the 2 were also greatly affected. Mok's mouth corners raised slightly when he saw this, revealing a playful smile. This guy, is he trying to give him a warning? What's there to be afraid of? Conqueror's Haki burst out instantly. Ka, the conqueror's haki of the two people kept colliding with each other, forming a terrifying shock wave that swept the entire venue. Even under this shock wave, cracks appeared on the solid wall of the fighting arena. At the same time, a substance similar to black lightning kept flashing and colliding between the two. Doflamingo's face condensed slightly. He really didn't expect that Mach also had conqueror's haki. However, he stretched out his tongue again and licked his lips, because at this moment, he could feel that Mach's conqueror's haki should have just awakened not long ago. Compared with him, it was far from the same, so, he became even more crazy. His eyes under the black realm had already glowed red. Then, his conqueror's haki burst out violently, pressing Mach's conqueror's haki towards Mach. In the end, only the circle around Mach was still under the control of Mach's conqueror's haki. Obviously, in the conqueror's haki duel, Mach fell into a disadvantage. Mach felt the pressure, but did not waver in his faith. He saw ghost energy surging on his body, and purple flames appeared in his eyes. He opened his eyes suddenly. Intimidation, ghost energy and conqueror's haki complement each other, and actually suppressed Doflamingo's conqueror's haki back. The red light under Doflamingo's glasses became stronger, but it retreated immediately, and even stopped the conqueror's haki first. Mach was a little confused. He thought this guy was going to take action. Doflamingo was silent for a moment, then asked, "Are you looking for Caesar clown?" Mach was speechless. This guy's intelligence is real. It's amazing. He even knows this. So, he came here because of this. After all, Caesar Kalong is the basis of his cooperation with Kaido. Mach didn't deny it and nodded. He is your man. It seems that you have also recruited a good crew. But don't worry, I went to him, just to get something from him. Not for him, one thing. Doflamingo looked puzzled. Mach waved his hand. Don't worry, that thing is dispensable to you and him. Of course, when I go to get it, if he doesn't give it to me, then I can only rob it. Doflamingo heard this, and his pupils shrank sharply. At the same time, he was extremely confused in his heart. What exactly is it? Unexpectedly, it made him completely turn against himself. However, he could not stand Mach's attitude, and angrily said, "Boy, don't be so arrogant." Unexpectedly, Mach changed the subject. "Don't be so aggressive, I have a business for you." "Huh?" Doflamingo almost sprained his waist. Black sneered, "You kid are kidding me." Moke said sincerely, "I really want to do business with you." "Oh." Doflamingo was interested. "Tell me, Moke, devil fruit. In the underground world, this is your business. How about it, are you interested?" Devil fruit. Doflamingo's pupils shrank like needles, and then he said meaningfully. "It seems that you are aiming for something big. I'm afraid that one Shichibukai can't satisfy you. Moke, we can still cooperate on intelligence." After that, he added, "Bailey is not a problem." Doflamingo looked at Moke deeply, and said meaningfully, "I remember that your captain's cook has a blood feud with my Don Quixote family. Can you let it go?" "Moke, that's between her and Gladius." Doflamingo's expression changed slightly. He understood. The feud between Ada and Gladius should be solved by the two of them. Neither he nor Mach wants to get involved. This is what Mach meant. After thinking for a moment, "How many devil fruits do you want?" Mach, "I want as many as you have." Doflamingo, Hey, boy, do you have that much Bailey?" Mach, "If I want, I can even buy your entire Dressrosa kingdom." This is not just talk, Bailey. He doesn't have much, but there are two places where gold is everywhere. Chapter 49. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Wait, speaking of gold, how could he forget the guy in the sky? That guy, in terms of attack alone, is definitely at the level of an admiral. What he lacks is his own defense and armament color. As long as he works hard on these 2 points, the number of people who can beat him can be counted on one hand. TSK. Mach laughed. On the Sky Island, Enolus shuddered for no reason. He couldn't help but show a puzzled expression. You know, since he ate the natural type of thunder fruit, he has never shivered. After hearing what Mach said, Doflamingo was stunned for a moment, and then showed a shocked expression. By his Dressrosa kingdom? What a big tone, do you know how much Bailey his Dressrosa kingdom earns a day? Hey, 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 hey. Are young people so crazy nowadays? At this time, Mach changed the subject, I'm serious. Ordinary animal and superhuman types are 200 million each. If it's special, like ancient species, mythical beast species, and natural types, we can negotiate the price separately. After that, if you are worried, you can decide the transaction location. As soon as these words came out, Doflamingo's face turned serious. Boy, are you serious? Mach, of course. Doflamingo was silent for a long time, then took out a den mushy from his arms and threw it to Mach. I'll let you know when the devil fruit is ready. After that, after taking a deep look at Mach, he added, I hope you are not kidding, otherwise I will make you regret living in this world. As soon as the words fell, he turned around and left. After Doflamingo left, Giza's badgers asked in confusion, Captain, are you really going to buy a devil fruit from him? Baboon King Burns, why do I feel something is wrong? This guy won't play thieves. Mach laughed when he heard it, I don't know, but I want to play thieves. Huh. Baboon King Burns and Giza's badgers looked at each other, okay. They were worried for nothing. No. Maybe they had expected it long ago, and it's not certain who will plot against whom at that time. Baboon King Burns reacted immediately, and just as he was about to speak, Mach seemed to see through his thoughts. Even if he is not honest, he can only be defeated in the face of absolute strength. At the same time, there was another person beside Doflamingo. He was Gladius. Master, are you really going to sell the devil fruit to them? He laughed his signature laugh. How can I give the devil fruit to people who are destined to be my enemies? Then I can make a profit during the transaction, and then kill them. Kill two birds with one stone. Gradius was stunned at first, then he said hesitantly, Master, if our Don Quixote family wants to completely destroy Mach's group, I'm afraid, although he didn't want to admit it. But he couldn't deny the strength of Mach's group. It's really amazing. Doflamingo's face froze when he heard it. But then he immediately laughed again. The items traded with Kaido this time include not only artificial devil fruits, but also several animal-type devil fruits, including a mythical beast. So, he will come in person for this transaction. Then, let's borrow his hand. Gradius was overjoyed when he heard this. Great. The novel was taken from the Rawlers website. Close where you're reading it and support us on our website for more free novels. Great. Kaido's monster is known as the strongest creature in the world, and is one of the 4 emperors of the New World, an absolute overlord. Mach's group is strong, but compared with Kaido's beasts pirates, it's far behind. He seems to have seen the demise of Mach's group, that he couldn't help but laugh with Doflamingo. Sure enough, the young master is still awesome. Gladius, then, Master, where should we meet him? Doflamingo, do we need to meet him? Isn't he looking for Caesar Cullen? Give him the news and he will come to you. Gladius understood instantly after hearing this. This means that the place where they traded with Kaido should be sent to Mach as the place where Caesar Cullen is. At that time, they don't need to say anything. The transaction was interrupted. With Kaido's temper, he would kill Mach and his men in a minute. Bulu Bulu, the den mushy in Mach's arms rang. Mr. Zero, this is Miss All Sunday. I have brought people to the Devil's Triangle. Everything is according to your instructions. Mach nodded with satisfaction. In addition to changing the intelligence organization's nest, you also need to win over some decent people should enter the work company, so that your intelligence organization can develop to the new world. Robin, yes. Then Robin thought of something and immediately added, Mr. Zero, Caesar Clown seems to have noticed something and disappeared. Of course, it may be that someone covered up his whereabouts for him. Mach, I already know this. It should be Doflamingo, who knew that someone was checking the whereabouts of Caesar Clown. So, he took action. Robin looked surprised. Doflamingo? If I remember correctly, this is another Shichibukai. Ah, this. Mach became famous because he killed Crocodile, one of the Shichibukai. Before that, it was Gecko Mariah, and now he is facing Doflamingo. If Doflamingo is killed, it will be even worse. Half of the Shichibukai died in his hands. Shichibukai killer. Thinking of this, Robin's mouth twitched. Just after Robin hung up the Den Den Mushi, the Den Den Mushi rang again. Captain, this is Ada, we have arrived at Champion Island. Have you arrived? Mok smiled, we have arrived. He looked at the baboon King Burns and Giza's badgers, and he found two very good partners. 2. Ada was surprised, besides Giza's badgers, who else is there? Giza's badgers on the side was surprised, Captain, you really came for me. Mok patted his shoulder, that means you are famous. Ha ha ha, then he said to Ada, we are in the fighting arena on the island, come over. After saying that, Mok seemed to have thought of something, and immediately turned to look at the baboon King Burns. By the way, where did you make the bet, is it far from here? Baboon King Burns, Golden City. What? Mok looked surprised, is it the Golden City with the world's largest entertainment city? Baboon King Burns nodded, yes, blind man Ishiao and I made an appointment there. Mok froze there, and it took him a while to come back to his senses. He turned his head slowly, who did you make the bet with just now? Chapter 50. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ishiao. Do you know him? Baboon King Burns looked surprised. Ishiao is not well known, it's not an exaggeration to say that he is a nobody. I really don't understand how the captain knew him, ha ha ha. Mok couldn't help but burst into laughter, it's really a piece of cake. I didn't expect that I would get such a reward after accidentally recruiting a good player like Baboon King Burns. It's really a blessing from heaven. Baboon King Burns raised his eyebrows, Captain, are you interested in him? Could it be that he also has extraordinary strength? Mok looked at Baboon King Burns with a surprised face, you and he are gambling friends, don't you know what his strength is? Baboon King Burns was a little embarrassed when he heard it, and touched his nose. This guy is simply possessed by the god of bad luck, so when gambling, just bet the opposite of him. It saves effort and worry, and it's a sure win. Don't you like such a gambling friend? Good guy, Mok couldn't refute it, then he laughed again, in that case, let's go meet him together. After all, who has a grudge against Bailey? Ha ha ha, that yahohoho, that holla ho ho, everyone present couldn't help laughing. Bailey, who doesn't like him? Take the Baboon King Burns for example, he was planning to go to the Golden Island and win big, then the Baboon King Burns frowned again, yes, he wanted to win big. But, if everyone went. Mok, Giza's badgers, Weeble, Brook, Perona, Ada, plus him, there are 7 people in total. If everyone wins big, I'm afraid it will alarm Gil Tesoro, the owner of the Golden Island. This guy is not easy to mess with, therefore, he couldn't help but show a hesitant expression. Captain, the owner of Golden Island, Gil Tesoro, is a big man in the underground world. We still have to deal with Doflamingo. If we face him again, it's not good. Mok narrowed his eyes when he heard this, but his eyes were shining. Gil Tesoro, which fan doesn't know him? He is called the Golden Emperor. To be honest, this guy is also a legend. He established the world's largest entertainment city, Gran Tesoro, and became an independent kingdom recognized by the world government. He is also a business wizard who controls many industries around the world. His wealth has reached 20% of the entire world, and he is in both black and white. In the underground world, he is the Golden Emperor who dominates the dark world with money, and his influence is all over the world. On the surface, he is the king of an independent kingdom recognized by the world government. He uses the power of money to freely manipulate the celestial dragons and can even use the power of the world government. He went from a penniless slave to the world's richest man and the king of the underground forces. Become a person who can freely manipulate the celestial dragons and even use the power of the world government. Do you think it's awesome? Absolutely awesome. He has a famous saying, people without money will achieve nothing and can only be dominated. This is cruel and realistic, it speaks to the essence of every world. However, if such a person can be recruited, it will be like adding wings to a tiger. Even if he can't be won over, take down his Grand Tesoro. Getting the wealth in it is also a huge gain. It is true that Guild Tesoro is an extraordinary person. He not only has extraordinary strength, but also has a powerful force. If you want to take him and his Grand Tesoro and use them for yourself, you must have enough strength. It's a bit difficult for us alone. You go first. I'll find a good player. Then, we'll have a big fight. You want to fight Grand Tesoro? Baboon King Burns couldn't help but widen his eyes full of shock. Ha ha ha. Moke couldn't help but burst into laughter. Our pirate group must have its own territory. I think this largest entertainment city in Guild Tesoro is a good choice. But he also understood, if we occupy that place, I'm afraid the world government and the celestial dragons will not be able to sit still. Although, he also has great confidence in his own strength, but he is not crazy enough to say that with the current strength and power, he dares to say that he can keep this territory under the special targeting of the world government and the celestial dragons. The difficulty is not to conquer it, but to occupy it for a long time. We must pull in 2 more strong men. Moke suddenly thought of something and turned to the Baboon King Burns. By the way, do you have rubber here? Or ceramics, Baboon King Burns? Ah. Mogu Town, Blackbeard, Poison Q, and Lafitte had just landed on the island and were walking on the road to Mogu Town. Blackbeard was in a very good mood at this time, because he found a very good crew in the West Sea. The most important thing was that Lafitte gave him a very amazing plan. He was very excited. Now all he had to do was find a guy with a good bounty and send it to the desk of Sengoku at the Navy headquarters as a gift. Then this matter would be half successful. Thief, haha. Blackbeard laughed, huh. However, the smile on his face froze immediately. Because his observation color captured the breath of a person, and the breath of this person was very terrifying, even he had to be alert. He turned his head and looked into the sky, and then he saw a beam of light falling from the sky into the Mogu town in front of him. Light? Blackbeard raised his eyebrows, because the light reminded him of 2 people. One was the Admiral of the Navy, Kizaru, the user of the Flash Fruit. The other was Mach, the newly promoted 7 warlords of the sea with multiple abilities, but no matter which one it is, we have to treat it with caution. He couldn't help but mutter in his heart, who is it? What are they doing here again? At the same time, on the other side of the island, the Straw Hat Pirates also landed. They are also heading towards Magic Valley Town. Mach, who has already landed in Magic Valley Town, raised his mouth slightly and showed a playful smile. Magic Valley Town. It's really a place with special significance. He never thought that Robin had been taken in by him and Crocodile had been killed by him. The plot has already changed. Blackbeard and Luffy, the 2 future emperors, can actually meet in this place. Interesting. He walked into the only tavern in Magic Valley Town. As soon as he entered the tavern, he saw a group of pirates shouting over there. Good guy. Mach recognized it at a glance. Isn't it Doflamingo's crazy little fan, Bellamy? It seems that this guy is destined to be beaten.